Hello, this is going to be a tutorial for Python Turtle. So you may be wondering, what is Python Turtle? Well, Python Turtle is like a canvas where you can draw all kinds of pictures and shapes. And here are some examples of what those could look like. So some people have drawn flowers, trees, and sometimes even games. So once you get familiar with these types of functions, then you'll be able to make any type of game or shape or picture that you would like. We're going to be drawing this penguin today. But first we're going to go over all the functions that we will need to draw it. So you will always need to start by typing from turtle import star. And star means everything in this case. So what that does is it gives you access to all of the functions and commands that you will need for making pictures. So let's get into the functions now. So I'm going to make a comment here, and the way you do that is with a hashtag, and anything that is in gray and has a hashtag, that's called a comment. It won't show up in the code, and it's just like a note to myself. So I'm going to use these as headers while I'm writing the functions. So the movement functions, 3 of them are forward, backward, and go to. All of these functions have parentheses like this after them. So inside the parentheses, I'm usually going to put a number or a word, and for forward I'm going to put a number. And that number is going to be how many units the turtle moves forward. So I'm going to say move forward 100, move backwards 200, and then I'm going to run that to see what it does. So it goes forward 100 and then backwards 200, and it starts in the middle here. And then go to is a little bit different. So the Python turtle is in a coordinate system. So there is an x coordinate and a y coordinate. And in the very middle, that is 0, 0. So the x coordinate is 0 and the y coordinate is 0. As you move left, the x coordinate decreases, and as you move right, the x coordinate increases. And then same with the y coordinate. As you move down, the y coordinate decreases, and as you move up, the y coordinate increases. So the x coordinate is always coming first and the y coordinate comes next. So if I say go to 100, 100, and I run that, it's going to move from here all the way up to the point 100, 100. And that point is 100 to the right and 100 up from where the turtle started at 0, 0. So since the turtle is like a pen, then sometimes I might want to lift up the pen to move from one place to another without drawing a line. So here are some functions that have to do with pen control. So the first one is pen up, and what that does is it lifts your pen up. So it's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to lift your pen up, then move somewhere else, then you can lift your pen up so it won't draw a line. And then the opposite one is pen down. So that one just puts your pen back down after you lifted it up. And I'm going to show you an example of what these two functions look like in the code. So if I say pen up and then go to -100, 100, and then pen down, and then let's just say go to -100, 0. So now it's going to go from where it ended up last time I ran it, and then it's going to lift the pen up, and then it's going to move left because I decreased the x coordinate, but it won't draw a line because I lifted the pen up. And then when I put it back down, I'm going to draw a line down, and that time it will draw a line. So let's see if that's how it works. So it lifted my pen up, and then it moved left, and then it put it back down, and then it moved down. The next few functions are going to be about angles or degrees. So those could be left, right, and then inside these parentheses is going to be the angle that you turn left or right. So if I say left 90, then after it does everything I did before, it's going to rotate left 90 degrees. So now it's facing up. And then same with the right function. You can just put any angles from 0 to 360 inside the parentheses, and it will turn that many degrees that direction. And then lastly, we have set heading. And inside the parentheses for this function, it's still going to be an angle, but the angle that I put is going to correspond to a direction that the turtle is facing. So I made this little diagram right here. So when you're facing to the right, the angle is 0. When you're facing up, it's 90. Left is 180 and down is 270. So no matter what way you're facing, if you say set heading 0, it will always just turn it so it's facing right. And then if I say set heading 270, it's always just going to turn it so it's facing down, no matter where it was facing before. And then next we have circles. So the function circle, it just draws a circle, and then inside the parentheses we're going to put the radius. So if I put 50, that is going to draw a circle that is 50 in radius. So if I run that, then you can see that it does the circle right here, and I'm just going to block off all this code that we had before so it doesn't have to run everything before it draws what we wanted to do. So the way I'm doing that is I'm putting 3 single quotes above and below where I want it to disable the code. And what that does is it turns this red color, and it will still be there so you don't have to delete it, but it won't show up in the code. It won't run that code. So if you want it later, you can just delete the single quotes. If you just put the radius in here, then it's automatically going to draw a full circle. But if I put the radius and then comma, and then the number of degrees that I want it to draw from the circle, which is 180 for a semicircle, then it's just going to draw a half circle. I'm putting a hashtag in front of this line so it comments it out, and then it's just going to draw a half circle. The angle is 360 for a full circle, so if I put 180, it's going to be a half circle. Next we have color functions. So if you want to fill in a shape, then you have 2 functions. The first one is begin fill, and then the second one is end fill. So you use these functions when you're filling in a shape. The first one you put before you start drawing the shape, and then end fill you put after you're done making the shape. So let's say I wanted to make a circle that was filled in. So I'll put begin fill, and then in between I'll put circle, and then after I'll put end fill. So now it should draw the circle, and then it will fill it in the fill color. So if you want to change the fill color, then you'll just write fill color and then the parentheses and then the quotation marks, and then you put the color you want. So let's just say pink. So if I put this before I do begin fill and end fill, then I'll have a pink circle. And then you can also change the pen color. And the pen color is the color of the line that is drawn. So if I write pen color and then the parentheses, quotation marks, I'll put blue, for example. And then it will draw a blue circle that is filled in pink. Lastly, we have stamp. So in our penguin picture, we use the stamp function for the eyes, the beak, the flippers, and the feet. So what stamp does is it makes a copy of itself. It makes a copy of the turtle, and then it stamps it in place. And then when it moves, it will leave a copy of itself where it was. So I'm just going to block off the code about circles and colors by moving these 3 single quotes, and then I'm going to show you what stamp does. So first I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to go forward 100, and then I'm going to stamp again, and then forward 100 again. So as you can see, it left a copy of itself where it started, and then after it went forward 100, it stamped it again, and then the turtle ended up 200 units from the starting position. And every time I wrote stamp in the code, it left a copy of itself wherever it was when I did it. So that's going to be useful when making the eyes, beak, flippers, and feet. So I'm going to move my 3 single quotes once again, and then we can finally start making our penguin. So you would start by typing from turtle import star, but we already have that at the top here. And then I'm going to write the first thing, which is set heading down. And since down is 270 here, I'll put 270 in the parentheses. I'm going to draw the first half circle at the bottom. So I'm going to write begin fill because I want this whole oval shape to be filled in. And then I'm going to write circle for the semicircle, and then 50 is the radius and 180 for the angle. And then the oval shape is made by 2 semicircles and 2 lines on either side. So I have the first semicircle, and then I'm going to make a line, and that's going to be 80 units. And then another semicircle, the same as before, and then another line. And once I'm done making the shape of the oval, I'm going to say end fill. So I'm going to run that, and we'll see we have the shape of the body right here. And then the next thing is the belly. So I'm going to label this as body up here, and then down here it's going to be the belly. So the belly is just a white circle, so I'm going to change the fill color to white with the fill color function. And then I want to move my turtle from where it is now a little bit to the right. So I'm going to use the go-to function for that, and the point will be 10, 0. And then I'm going to begin making my circle, and I want it to be filled in, so I'm going to use begin fill and end fill again, but between there I'm going to write circle and 40 for the radius, and then end fill. So perfect, we have our little circle for the belly. And then the next thing are the eyes. And the eyes are just 2 bigger white circles and then 2 little black circles inside them. So to make the eyes, the white part of the eyes, I'm going to use the go-to function, point 30, 80. And I want them to be filled in, so I'm using begin fill and end fill, just like I used for the belly. And the circle is going to be 20 in radius. And before I do all that, before these 3 lines of code, I'm actually going to set my turtle heading facing to the right. So I'm putting 0 in the parentheses here. So I have begin fill, and then I make the circle, and then now I need end fill again. For these begin fill and end fill functions, I have an underscore in between each of the words. And that's one thing that's different about the begin fill and end fill functions that none of the other functions have. So I have one circle, and now I need another circle. So I'm going to go to the point 70, 80. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So begin fill, circle with 20 as the radius, and then end fill. So now I should have the 2 eyes. Alright, the next part is going to be the little black circles that are inside the eyes. And like I said before, I'm not going to draw the circles for this. I'm just going to change the shape of the turtle to a circle and then use the stamp function. So to do that, there's a function called shape. And you'll need the quotation marks for this. And inside that, I'm going to write circle. So that's going to change the shape of the turtle from an arrow to a circle. And then I'm going to change the fill color back to black. And then I'm going to lift my pen up because I don't want it to draw a line from where it ended up to the middle of the left eye. So I'm using the pen up function. And then finally I'm going to go to the point 30, 100. And then I'm going to use my stamp function. And then I'm going to the other point, which is 70, 100. And then I'm stamping it again. So that should finish off the eyes. So I'm just going to run it so we can see how that looks. Okay, so we have the inside of the eyes here. And the next thing is the beak. So the beak uses the same thing, the stamp function. And I'm going to change the shape and the color to match what I have in the picture, the example. So the shape is going to be a triangle, and then the color, the fill color, is going to be orange. And up here I have pen up, And actually, I don't need to put my pen back down after that, because the stamp function can work without having the pen down. So now I just need to go to the right point, which is 50, 70. And then the triangle in the picture is facing down. So if we go back to the diagram, 270 is facing down. So we're going to plug in 270 for the angle. And then finally I can use my stamp function here. I'm gonna run it again just to see what we have so far. Okay, perfect. So the set heading function just turns it until it is facing the right angle. So it doesn't do it super fast, it doesn't do it immediately, it just spins around until it's facing the right direction. So now we just have the flippers and the feet. So let's do the flippers next. So the flippers are black and the pen color is white. And the reason we have the pen color white is because if it was still black, then you wouldn't be able to see it on the body. So I'm going to change the fill color back to black and the pen color to white. So one of the flippers is facing the right. The one on the left is facing the right, and the one on the right is facing the left. So the first one is going to be set heading the right, which is 0. And then I'm going to go to the point 0, 50 for the left flipper. And then I'm going to use my stamp function. And then for the other flipper, it's going to be facing the left. So angle 180. And then I'm going to go to the point 100, 50. And then just stamp it again. And then we'll run what we have. Alright, so the last thing is the feet. And we're still going to be using the stamp function. So I'm going to change the shape to a square for the feet. And the color back to orange, the fill color. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the right point, which is 35, -50. That's going to be for the left foot. And then I'm going to stamp it. And then the other one, the one on the right, is 65, -50. And then I get to stamp it one last time. And these points here, I've been telling you which ones they are because I made the penguin myself, so I had to keep track of all of these points, and it wasn't the first try that I figured these points out. So if you're making your own drawing, just know that it probably won't be the first try that you get all of the points exactly how you want it to. So just keep trying until you get it how you want. So I'm going to run it one last time here so you can see the finished product. I think it's kind of fun to see it being drawn step by step like this. And there we have it, our penguin drawing is finished. So I am encouraging you or anyone watching this to make your own drawings by using these functions that we covered today. And don't get discouraged if you don't like how it looks. Just keep going, and I promise you'll make something that you are proud of. So that is it for this tutorial, and I hope to make more tutorials like this in the future. Bye!